Hello. Today we are looking at Isaiah chapter 37, and we are going to examine three lessons that I have pulled out of this particular chapter. Now, this chapter is one of the longer ones in the book of Isaiah, and there is, because of it being in a narrative format, there is a lot of things that we can discuss from this particular chapter, and I'm not going to get anywhere close this morning to looking at all of them. But let me just throw out a few things that I found to be of interest. And certainly, if you have those things for you, as you've studied the chapter, I would love to hear them. And so notice what is said. And remember that this is kind of a series of conversations that take place between going all the way back into chapter 36, between the king of Assyria's envoy, the Rabshakeh, who is trying to basically talk down the people of Judah to intimidate and even bribe them into just falling down and continuing or in following after the king of Assyria. When you come down to verse number 11, you have here the statement that the Rabshakeh will make to King Hezekiah on this occasion. And basically he says, "Look, you have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all lands by utterly destroying them, and shall you be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered those whom my fathers have destroyed, Gozan and Haran and Reseph, and the people of Eden who were in Telassar? Where is the king of Hamath, the king of Arpad, and the king of the city of Sepharvaim, Hena and Iva?" Here, the Rabshakeh comes before Hezekiah and says, "How can you possibly think to stand? How can you possibly think that you're going to be able to stand up to us? You know, all of these other nations and all of these other kingdoms trusted in their gods as well. And they have all been overtaken by the Assyrians. What makes you think that you're going to be any different?" You know, a lot of times people mistake everybody else for being the servants of God. A lot of times people will say, well, we have always overcome all of these things, or we have always been able to endure beyond all of these things. Your God is no different. And you have no reason to trust in him, because we have already shown that we are able to defeat all of the gods. We are able to get past anybody. And so you oftentimes have people, just as you have here, that will say the same thing. Listen, your God's not going to help you. Your God doesn't care about you. You know, we've heard about gods before, and we know about gods before, and they never do anything. There's never any value to them. So don't even bother believing that your God is going to have any impact whatsoever. The attempt here is to say we are so great and so powerful, not even a God can stop us. And that is going to be the mentality that they are going to carry into this particular discussion with Hezekiah. And so the first lesson is, sometimes people don't care whether you believe in God or not. Some people don't truly believe in the power of God, and they believe that the true power lies in their own abilities, not in anything that God can or cannot do. And that's the attitude of the people of Assyria. Is they are so strong and they are so powerful that it doesn't matter who God is. They're still stronger than he is. And of course, God is going to prove them wrong toward the end of the chapter. But that's lesson number one. The second thing that I found or that I find interesting is found in verses 16 through 20. And I'm not going to take the time to read the entire passage. But there, Isaiah tells us of Hezekiah's prayer. You know, in times of great distress, the first thing that we should do is what Hezekiah does, and that is to go to God in prayer. And it's interesting to note some of the things that Hezekiah says. First of all, he gives him credit in verse 16 for being the one who's made all of the kingdoms of the earth and made heaven and earth. And then in verse 17, he talks about the fact that he says, I want you to hear, I want you to remember the things that Sennacherib has said and the way that he has failed to regard you, failed to acknowledge who you are. And then in verse 18, he says that, yes, the kings of Assyria have laid waste to all of these nations and to all of their gods. But, he says, verse 19, they were not gods, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone, therefore they destroyed them. Hezekiah's acknowledgement is, listen, all of these other gods aren't actually gods, which is why they were defeated, which is why they were overcome. And so you have an acknowledgement in Hezekiah's prayer, not just of God as the creator, but also you have an acknowledgement of God as being the only true God and the one that can save them from the hand of the Assyrians. There is a faith and there is a confidence in Hezekiah, not just in who God is, but in what God can do. And Hezekiah is not willing to back down from that faith. The third lesson is from God's statement through Isaiah about the king of Assyria, down in verses 28 and 29, where there God says, but I know your dwelling place, your going out and your coming in, and your rage against me. Because your rage against me and your tumult have come up to my ears, therefore I will put my hook in your nose and my bridle in your lips, and I will turn you back by the way which you came. God says, I'm going to show you that I'm in control. I'm going to show you that I am the one in charge. He says, I will put my hook in your nose, I will put my bridle in your lips, and I will turn you back. Not that you will want to turn back, not that you're going to just miraculously say, I want to go home now, but rather I am going to force you to. I am going to be the one that takes control, and I am going to show you that I am the one in charge. And he is going to do that. When you get to the statements at the end of the chapter where 185,000 of the Assyrian army are going to, as one person has said, wake up dead. And Sennacherib is going to go home because of it. God is going to take care of his people. And he is going to do it by taking control of the situation, by exerting the message of who he is into the discussion. And so we see in Isaiah chapter 37, we see the faith of Hezekiah, we see the insolence of Assyria, and we see the retribution of God and the deliverance of God for the people of Israel. That's what I found out of chapter 37. I hope that you are enjoying our study, and tomorrow we will pick up with an examination and a reading through Isaiah chapter 38. I hope you have a great day.